mercy, and I look upon his face, the one who saved me by his grace. When he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land, what a day, glorious day that will be, that will be.
Good morning. On behalf of the men and women of the Corrigan Police Department, I want to welcome you and thank you for attending the services today and for attending the services over the weekend and giving your prayers and support to the family. They have been heard and they have been felt. And so thank you very much for that. Earlier in the week, I was asked by a reporter to describe the kind of police officer that Dale Woods was. And I thought about it for a moment and I answered, I'd rather tell you the kind of man he was because that's really all that matters. And as I collected my thoughts for today, I found myself drawn to the items in his personnel report, where he worked and how long he was there and things of that nature that are very important, but they still don't go to the answer to what kind of man he was. When we hire police officers, we often say, bring me a good person, I can turn him into a cop. And generally speaking, that's the case. But every once in a while, if you're lucky, if you're very, very lucky, you run into a natural cop. And the law enforcement leaders in this room are shaking their head because they know what I'm talking about. You run into somebody who's born with common sense, born knowing how to talk to people with respect and to handle stressful situations. And these are the ones that run through fire, run into the gunfire, and run through brick walls for people they've never met before. And that was Dale Woods. Dale was a cop's cop. And for those in the building that may not know what that term means, it tells the rest of us as police officers basically everything we need to know. It tells us that when we make that traffic stop at 2 in the morning, that he'll be on the other side of that car looking for the gun. And when we go to that domestic, he'll be standing right next to us. It's everything we need to know. But I caution our communities, the caustic environment that we're asking these young men and women to police in is causing us to lose our supply of not only police officers, but of those rare natural police officers. And that hurts all of us. I also told the reporter I had the privilege of knowing Dale for 32 years. In the first 3 years of our lives, we ran in different circles and weren't what I would consider friends, and he said maybe 10 or 15 words to me. But then I look back, and the remaining 29, I'm not sure he said much more than that. But you never doubted his friendship. He had a remarkable ability for gaining friendships and earning respect without having to say very much. Trinity, Haley, and Colin, I'm going to tell you something about your dad you might not know, and it's not a bad story, so you can relax. But your dad's a hero. And being a hero doesn't require that you die in a fiery explosion or that you have some innate skill for carrying a football or a tune, but it does require you be willing to give everything, including your life, for a purpose greater than yourself. And if that doesn't describe your dad, I don't know what does. What happened to your dad Friday was tragic. What happened was unfair. And what happened will alter your lives forever. And there isn't a return to the old normal. But there'll be a new normal. There'll be a new feeling of pride when you hear your father's name. And that's going to come from the speeches and the stories you've been told over the last week and that we'll continue to hear. And when you look around you at this awesome display of respect for what your father stood for. And it isn't because you didn't respect him before, but this is going to be a bit different. And those good feelings, they're going to come back. They'll come back when you're with your family and you'll swear you hear your dad laugh in the background somewhere. Or you look in the mirror or in the face of your brothers and sisters and you'll swear you see his face. And I promise you that when you have children, his voice will come booming out of your mouth one day and you'll not know where that came from. Your dad loved you and was incredibly proud of you. And he left you with a remarkable legacy. And he's also left you with thousands of new aunts and uncles. And we love Dale. And I challenge every man and woman in uniform in this room to say those words to the people who mean something to you before it's too late. Because I promise you, Every one of Dale's friends wished we had 5 more minutes to say that to him. Our jobs are way too hard to wait till a tragedy occurs to tell each other how we feel about one another. If any positives came from this last week, it's that I've started to see police officers hugging one another and actually saying those things to each other. So, back to the original question, what kind of man was Dale Woods? Dale was the kind of man who would break a window in a car to save a baby that was in a sweltering car and was going to lose its life, never expecting to hear a thank you. But ironically, getting the message of thank you from that child's father 1 hour before he was struck Friday. He's the kind of police officer who, as a new cop all by himself, would chase a murder suspect from a homicide scene to the point where the suspect had no other choice but to take his own life. He's the kind of officer and the kind of man who would run into a burning building to save a blind resident who thought her chances of escape had gone. He's also the kind of man who would place a brand new police officer in his car and make them listen to the most god-awful music ever created as part of his training program. He's also the kind of man, as his very last act on this earth, gave of himself, every part of himself, so others could live through organ donation. And he's the kind of man who could cram people in the Cintas arena on a cold January Monday just because of who he was and what he stood for. Dale, I love you and I'm going to miss you. You made me a better person for knowing you, and you made our police department a better police department for being part of us. And I know you made Colerain Township a safer community because you stood the watch. You can rest easy, my friend. Your brothers and sisters have your watch.
It was very nice, Chief Jenny. Thank you for the chance to speak today. I'm humbled to have the opportunity to address Dale's family and friends, his fellow officers, our township co-workers, and our Colerain Township neighbors, whether you are here or watching from home. We genuinely appreciate you taking time today to remember Dale and his family. To Dale's family, my wife, Jean, our 2 adult children, Kara and Thomas, my mother, my brothers, my sister, their spouses, and my nieces and nephews, all of whom live in Colerain Township, we offer our condolences. Thank you for Dale's lifetime of service. To Colin, Trinity, and Haley, I'm so sorry about the loss of your dad. I do have the honor today to introduce you to some of your new family members and friends starting right now today. Right over there, about 12 rows from the back, is your new sister. She is a police officer in Louisville, Kentucky. When you visit her, she will take you over to Churchill so you can see the horses. The officer over there from Illinois, he is your new cousin. You are meeting him for the first time today. Later in life, he will show you around Chicago. And the officer from Michigan, well, he will be the uncle you call when you take a trip some summer day to see the blue waters up north. My point is, approach any of the officers that are here today, walk into any police department next week, next year, or 10 years from now, in any town USA, tell them who you are, and you will have instant family. Everyone here wants to help you. Please give them a chance to do that someday. Your new home phone number in Colerain Township is 321-COPS. It rings right up on Springdale Road. Ask for Uncle Mark when you need some advice. He knows just enough to be dangerous. When you call there, Glenna, Emily or Shannon, Jenna, or Heather will always have a kind word. Greg will always cheer you up, and Uncle Raj will always be there to listen. And when you call your new home on Springdale Road, it's usually Ed who answers the phone, and he's always good for a sandwich, if you know what that is. And Ed's going to need you to call him because because he's going to need that, so please call him. May God hold your family in the palm of his hand. We can do all these things through Christ who strengthens us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. My name is Raj Gopal. I'm a Coleraine Township trustee and a former deputy sheriff. Today is the saddest day for the Coleraine Township and the Coleraine police officers, firefighters, and the residents of the Coleraine Township, the whole country. We lost our own fellow officer. On behalf of Coleraine Township and the residents, I thank all the police officers, firefighters, and law enforcement agencies to come here to bid farewell to our fallen officer, Dale Woods. I also thank our area law enforcement agencies and firefighters to help our own Coleraine police officers and firefighters while they were grieving and paying visit to our officer Dale Woods when he was in the hospital. Officer Dale's children, Haley, Trinity, and Colin, you are not all alone. While you are all in sorrow and sadness for loss of our daddy, the residents of Coleraine Township and all our country share your sorrow and sadness. Your daddy is a hero, and our hero, and our country hero. Dale's mom, Trish, and his girlfriend, Becky, mom, and stepfather, Rex. You gave the son to serve our township and our country. During those years, he sacrificed his life, sharing and protecting lives of people. Dale's mom, Dale may have lived a short life, but all the life he lived for others, sacrificing. At the end, also he sacrificed. For this, forever, we all will be thankful to you. Thank you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch
Hi, my name is Greg Insko, Coleraine Township trustee. I want to remind everyone, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. We've all gotten pretty good at that over the last week. But it's also okay to be happy. And I'm going to keep it lighthearted because it's okay to smile and laugh too. Like many of you, I keep asking myself, what would Dale want? I think he'd want us to look after his family, his girlfriend, his brothers and sisters in the police and fire departments. And I think he'd especially want us to look after his kids. When I met them all at the hospital, his son was wearing a hoodie that was halfway zipped down. And I said, "What's at the top of your shirt?" And unfortunately, he proudly opened his shirt and said, "I'm a Steelers fan." My reaction wasn't laughter at all. It was actually more like silence. We should all want to support his son as best we can in honor of his father. So we can all be Bengals fans, but if you'd like to join me in supporting his son, well, go Steelers. We love you, buddy.
These last days have been difficult ones. Haley, Trinity, Colin, I'm so sorry. Your dad loved you, and I can't even begin to understand the emotions that you guys have been feeling. I picture, as I bet every dad in here pictures, my kids sitting in your chairs, and it's almost too much to bear. I knew your dad to be a good man. I knew your dad to be a good man who surrounded himself with good men and women. I knew your dad to be a public servant in a community that cares. I believe that though he is gone, and there is nothing that anyone in this room can do to bring him back, that his essence, his memory, will live on so long as we tell his story. There are many people in this room who know Dale's story better than I do, and I implore you, tell it. Tell it often. Tell the story about that rainy night in January when Dale did what police officers do. When Dale did what firefighters and EMTs do. When Dale did what heroes do every day. When Dale did his job. He helped somebody who needed help. He paid the ultimate price. Friends, I believe in the altruism of public service, but this is not fair. And this hurts. And these last days have been difficult ones. And you shouldn't die for doing your job, even if your job is to be a hero. But I also believe that so long as the work that you have done and the person that you are is still impacting people's lives, so long as your story continues to be told, then you have left a legacy. A legacy you can be proud of. I'm proud of Dale. I'm proud of his legacy. Let's make Dale's legacy our lives.
Jeff mentioned the stories that go with a life and the legacy. I think sometimes there ought to be a story time associated with funerals, because there's plenty of stories that can be told. I have no doubt that if I was to ask all these guys from Coleraine Do you have a story? I don't think there would be anybody that would not be able to share. We call them Dale stories. I was honored as chaplain to have talked to Dale numerous times, and this for some of you, and you might have that hard to believe because Dale didn't talk. But when the phone rang and I looked and I saw the name, and he was calling me about something personal, I knew that this guy that never talked to me liked me. And I considered it a privilege to have been able to talk to him on a couple occasions about things in his life. In Psalm 90, we find a psalm that was written by a guy named Moses. You may have heard of him. He talks about life. And he's considering much what we are considering here today as family and friends and loved ones. He says this in verse 9. Moses said in Psalm 90, he said, "We spend our lives, our years as a tale that is told." See, there's a story of Dale's life, and we've shared with you a few things, but we have not nearly hit the tip of the iceberg. See, daily stories are what gives life color. We live our lives in the day-to-day, the conversations as we work together, as we pass, as we laugh, our daily walk with our friends, with our family, and our relationships, and what we believe on. Someday, for all of us, our life story will be told by others. In fact, all of us that are here today, we are writing our life story right now. Moses, realizing that, has a request for God. I think it's a good request. He says, "God, teach me to number my days, that I may apply my heart to wisdom." I think it's a great ask. The ideal presented by Moses is simple. We need to stop and evaluate our days, and we need to ask God to help us live each day wisely. Dale decided early in life that he was going to serve. If you'll go back and you'll review that list of occupations, Dale never got a factory job. He only got jobs in which he was serving other people. That's all he ever chose. Jobs of service. I was told by family that he decided when he was a kid, if you ask him what is he going to be when he grows up, he was going to say a fireman and a policeman. Now, some of you would say, well, he needs to be one or the other. But he became both. He became both. Dell decided to spend some personal time pursuing I don't know if you call it a hobby or what. I guess he enjoyed it. To me, it's just frustrating, but he played golf. And I was told by many that he was a different person when he got on the golf course. Talking to his mother, she told me that as a boy, he had a long stick at the end of his hand, and it was a fishing pole. And then when he got older, he exchanged that stick for a golf stick. Continued to play. I would say those aren't bad decisions. But there's a couple of things that we need to hear whenever we say, God, help us to live wisely. I want my heart to be given the wisdom. I want to live wisely. Wise living means a couple things. Number one, it means knowing the value of relationship. The best part of your life is not how big your TV is. the best part of your life are the relationships that you have. People are the most important and most valuable commodity that you can surround yourself with. Good relationships add value to life. They also make it easier to go through life. And as a preacher of the word, I'm telling you today that the main relationship that you need is a relationship with God. It's the relationship that's not only for the now, but it's for the forever. It's the relationship that will walk you through life. People are people. And in this stadium, we have people that are always dealing with people, sometimes in their worst. And there's a blanket of negativity that can overflow that. And may I say to you, men and ladies that are out as police officers, don't let this world make you cynical. Don't let it ruin your relationships. We have too much of that already. See, relationships take work. Relationships are to be valued. And a relationship with God can be had because God became man so that you might have a relationship with him. And then after that, he died for the very reason that we're talking about, so that you can know what a personal relationship is. It doesn't come from being good. It doesn't come from being religious. It's not a religion. It's a relationship. It's simple to accept because what God offers you is a gift. It's free. And all you have to do is accept it with all your heart, recognize who you are, and make that your number one relationship. You must embrace this, not as mental facts, but as a reality that goes deep to the heart. I think wise living also means knowing the value of today. See, all I can live is from this day forward. I have breath in my lungs and blood flowing through my body, and so do you. So God has given you today. You all are here today. I don't know about tomorrow, but you have today. So I want to number this day, as Moses said, and I want to apply my heart to wisdom. As it's already been said by the chief, maybe I need to express my love and care for someone today because I have today. Maybe that hug or that appreciation or maybe making that apology is what I need to do today because I have today. So I've learning the value of today. All of us, including myself, have days that we're not proud of. And that's true of all of us, isn't it? All of us have days where we can drop our heads in shame, and I have way too many of those. Days where I didn't do so well. But I can do is live from this day forward. And today, God help me to live wisely. The last point, God help me not only to live wisely, knowing the value of relationships, knowing the value of today, but live wisely, knowing that faith needs to be a part. It's at times like this, listen, Coleraine, it's times like this we lean on our faith. It's the same time you say, well, my faith is being tested. Yes, it is. Your faith in God will get you through, but I hope you have faith in God and the gift of eternity that he offers. But I hope you also have faith in what we're doing. May I confirm to you today that what you are doing, have faith. You're doing the right thing. Police work, no matter how it may be presented in this society today, and if you have been watching the news, it's been a rough month already for law enforcement around this country. But hear me. You have to have the faith every day that you get up and you put on your uniform that you are doing what is right and you are doing what is needed. May we confirm that today May that faith sustain you through dark times. I believe Dale got up every day knowing full well that what he was doing today was not only the thing that he wanted to do, but he had faith in knowing he was doing the right thing. Moses ends this psalm by asking something else of God. He said, God, let the beauty of the Lord my God be upon me, and God, establish thou the work of our hands. Yes, the work of our hands, establish thou it. I think it's a great request too. We want God to make the work of our hands amount to something. I want God to establish what I have done in this life to have an impact, listen to me, beyond my life. That's what we want for Dale, isn't it? The story of Dale shouldn't be over, as it was said. And that's a good request. God, may I live my life in such a way that even when I'm gone, the ripple effect of my presence may be felt. I hope, I really do, that when I die, my bad days will be forgotten, and the good things, the right things that I have done is what will be my heritage. As people tell the story of my life, as that tale which is told, as Moses said, may God establish what I have done right, what I have done well, beyond my years today. And today, as I close, we need to make a promise to Dale Woods, especially those that worked with him, guys on the floor that know him well, that we will tell the story of Dale and that his story will continue on even though he's not here. I say this and I mean this with all my heart. Whenever something comes up, say it out loud. Hey guys, you know what Dale would say. You know what Dale would do. And it is my hope that the memory of Dale will eventually, maybe not now, but eventually, bring a smile to your face more than a tear to your eye. One of these days, one of the guys is going to look over and say, what are you grinning about? And you can simply say, I'm having a memory about Dale. May it bring a smile to your face. Jesus said in Matthew 5:9, most of you know this, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And today I echo Jesus' words. To all those today that put your life on the line, to all of you that get put on the public eye and people whip out their phones to photograph you, find fault in what you do. You that run towards the trouble when everyone runs away, I echo Jesus' words. Bless you. God bless you. May the story of your life be established past the years of your service. May God bless you. Let's bow our heads and we'll end with a word of prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we have shared our love and our thoughts for Dale. We are thankful that he's been in our community. Coleraine is a blessed community because of him. The way that he served, the way that he policed, the way he dealt with people. Or he will be missed. There's a hole. There won't be another Dale. But we're glad we had him. Thank you for giving him to us. And may his example, his mentoring, and his presence be felt. And may we often speak of Dale and his impact. And may the story of his life be that tale that is told in the years to come. I pray for his family, his children especially, those that were around him and rubbed shoulders with him, worked with him, loved with him, and Becky. Lord, you'll help them in the next days ahead. And may their face eventually smile when they have a memory We pray this in your Son's name. Amen.
On behalf of the Woods family and the Corning Township family, thank you. Thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and support you have offered us this past week. It is much appreciated and has truly helped us all get through this difficult time. Thank you for your presence today to honor and celebrate the service and life of Officer Dale Woods. If you're unable to attend, thank you for however else you have offered your love and support. Words cannot begin to express our gratitude. I speak on behalf of the entire police department and the Corning Township family when I say it has truly been an honor and a privilege to serve alongside one of the finest officers to ever wear the uniform of the Corning Police Department. Truly a cop's cop. As we conclude the public portion of the ceremony, I'd like to remind you that the public safety community is invited to accompany Officer Wood's family in procession to Spring Grove Cemetery for a ceremony in the Rose Garden. No private or unmarked vehicles will be permitted in the procession. We have arranged bus transportation for you to that ceremony. Those buses are located outside the building and are staged waiting for you. Upon the conclusion of the service, please make your way expeditiously to those buses. They will depart 20 minutes after the conclusion of the service. After the ceremony at Spring Grove, they will return you back to Cintas to your cars. Thank you.
All rise. About face. Praise